Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. We are here to do the SmackDown recap, which took place in San Antonio, Texas on July 18th, 2025. We kick off the show with a big old accident outside of the arena, which features MFT standing next to the car accident. Don't quite know what's going on yet. Until later in the evening, we see local authorities looking for Jacob Fatu for further investigation. Adam Pearce, of course, led him right to him. Snitches get stitches. Remember that, Adam. Before our next match, we also see a segment with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, where Charlotte is asking Alexa if she can be her cheerleader, essentially. Alexa, basically says, "What do I look like, a cheerleader?" And to which Charlotte replies, "Yes, you kind of do." And so, oddly enough, we then get Charlotte Flair and Raquel Rodriguez to, at the side of Charlotte is Alexa, who is donning pom-poms, which is a choice. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but anyways, we move on. We then get the actual match between Charlotte and Raquel, a decent enough match that sees the ending where Roxy tries to interfere, and then Alexa does the same with Raquel, and this allows Charlotte to fend off Roxy, and then Charlotte rolls up Raquel for the 1, 2, 3. I don't love pens, but this kind of is what it is. It's the Judgment Day's typical shtick backfiring on them a little bit, so it is what it is. And we also see announced that Charlotte and Alexa Bliss will take on Raquel and Roxanne for those tag team titles at SummerSlam. So I'm not mad at the matchup. I just kind of wish there was a little more to prove that they belong there. But obviously Charlotte and Alexa as a team have plenty of things going for them, so I have no issues with the match itself. We then get a match between Damian Priest and Carmelo Hayes. We see Priest looking for Aleister Black, and he instead runs into Hayes, who runs his mouth per usual, and Priest tells him basically, put your money where your mouth is. Then getting into the actual match, before we can actually get the match started, Hayes attacks Priest to get the early advantage, and the match is coming along, quite nicely. And obviously, we then get Aleister Black's interference to end the contest. So clearly, looking ahead, it is going to be a bit of Aleister Black and Damian Priest going on with the feud. We then see Solo Sikoa and MFT make their way to the ring. This ends up showing some footage of Fatu being released from questioning, and some of these authorities, police uniforms were suspect at best. But then Jimmy comes down, and as well as Jacob, basically to get revenge. And then we see the end story here being Solo gets put in cuffs. Adam Pearce announces that Jacob will get a rematch against Solo for that U.S. title in a steel cage. And yeah, a lot going on. I haven't seen a police angle in quite a while, so this was interesting. KP, first half of SmackDown, what'd you think? Are you okay with Alexa and Charlotte being in the women's tag division or tag team championship match without being earned, and the upcoming feud with Aleister and Priest, as well as the rematch of Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa?
So firstly, just talking about the whole dynamic with Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu across the course of the night, that was really interesting because you've got obviously this whole police angle that sort of like started with that crash, the T-bone incident, just before the show began. So that was a bit chaotic to begin with, and obviously you go straight to Charlotte and Alexa for that opening contest of the night. At first, when these two sort of like seemed to be teasing a pairing together, I wasn't really too sure. I wasn't really on board with it. But the more I see of them and the dynamic that sort of evolved between both women, I'm actually growing more and more fond of it as time goes on. I think that Charlotte, she's just having a lot of fun right now, which is really cool to see. She seems to really be enjoying herself, and that sort of like it plays into her matches, and the sort of like interactions with Alexa Bliss. You saw at the end of the match once Charlotte had got the victory over Raquel Rodriguez. She's like nudging her, and she's like like playfully sort of like pushing her and whatnot. And that was even before the matchup as well. That was happening. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit different, but it's quite nice. I quite like it, and it's nice to see Charlotte sort of being serenaded by the crowd. The woos are really loud. She's being cheered, and it doesn't feel forced, which is nice. It's something that we haven't seen a lot of with Charlotte in her career, especially for a long time anyway. So yeah, it's really refreshing actually to see like a natural sort of like way that she's just sort of like become a bit more appreciated by the fans. So I'm really liking that. But yeah, the match against Raquel was fine. It was okay. The roll-up pin, yeah, sure. You can obviously have your own opinions on that one. I'm not particularly a fan of it, but yeah, it's obviously a big win over one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, so it sets up that quite interestingly for sure. Then we'll obviously see what happens next week when we've got Alexa taking on Roxanne Perez. The Damian Priest Carmelo Hayes match, yeah, honestly, not a particular fan of what went down here. So I was watching the matchup, take place. I was thinking to myself, you know what? Well, Carmelo needs a win here. Damian Priest, yeah, sure, he's obviously involved with Aleister Black off the back of that R-Truth sort of. Little really tiny feud type thing, and then you've got Carmelo Hayes here, who hasn't really been doing an awful lot as of late. I thought this would be a great opportunity for Carmelo Hayes to get a victory, but because of Aleister Black costing Priest the win. But actually what happens is the exact opposite, and, Aleister Black basically causing the match to end via disqualification and knocking Priest onto the ropes. I wasn't particularly a fan of that whole incident, so would have liked to have seen it the other way around. Obviously Black, standing tall and being strong at the end there, hitting the black mass on Priest and laying him out. Carmelo Hayes, running away as his character, is at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. I really thought they could have gone a different way with that. I was kind of disappointed, to be honest with you. But the matchup was okay. It was fine. But just wanted a better ending, personally speaking, for me. I think this was a really poor end. And then, yeah, back to obviously the madness and the chaos with Solo and Jacob and the MFTs and whatever. This is quite interesting because, to have a police angle, like you said, we haven't seen one in a very, very, very long time. To have one with Jacob Fatu of all people involved, it's certainly a choice, right? Based on obviously his history and stuff. So, yeah, it's sort of, I guess it plays into the characters quite well with that. It's quite easy to go off of that. But the segment was actually kind of funny. Like I'm not going to say it was good, but it was funny because it was amusing how everyone just sort of interacted with the police officers, and they would bring Jacob Fatu to the arena and then tell him he's okay to go and whatever. They were sorry for picking out the wrong guy, and then Adam Pearce coming out and that really dramatic police officer like turning around and bringing Solo's arm behind him to arrest him. I don't know, there were some really comical moments here, and I quite enjoyed this segment just for the comical value that it did bring. But I mean, hey, look, we're going to get a steel cage match between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa at SummerSlam. That's the big coming out from this. So I'm hyped for that. Really, really looking forward to it. There's been a lot of history between these two dudes recently, so yeah, that match seems really good for the US title, steel cage, SummerSlam. I'm hyped for it. That's the main thing, right? So yeah, definitely an up and down SmackDown start. Kind of funny, kind of meh, kind of good. So yeah, there's lots of bits here and there basically, but that's essentially my my recap of the first half.
So yeah, we kind of alluded to this in prior weeks, but it's just crazy that we live in a world now where Charlotte, gets, cheered on a weekly basis. So that is something, and it does feel like she is having fun. This isn't a role she typically gets involved in. Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it with Carmelo. You just got to feel bad for the guy. It just feels like anytime he gets any sort of momentum, it's just derailed as quickly as he gets it. But Aleister and Damian should be a fun bout. And then, yeah, as long as the authority figures were meant to be a comedy bit and that wasn't meant to be serious, I think I'm okay with that. But yeah, steel cage being the final payout there, I think we can all get behind that. Moving on with the action, we then see Stephanie Vaquer going against Alba Fire of the Secret Harvest. And unfortunately, this wasn't really a match at all. Essentially a squash match. Piper Niven tries to take out Vicaire unsuccessfully. Vicaire pretty handily takes out both of them, and that's that. So clearly keeping her strong for her title shot in Paris. We then see a number one contenders match for the tag titles and an opportunity to take on the Wyatt Six at SummerSlam. The teams include MCMG, Fraxium DIY, and the newly but very much thriving team in Andrade and Rey Fenix. This was by far the best match of the night, and to no surprise of anyone, it features the SmackDown tag division. And to argue, there wasn't really any other decent matches. So, a continuing trend lately, which I don't love to see, but we'll see if they can right that ship over the next couple weeks leading up to SummerSlam. And then to boot all of that, Andrade and Rey do end up getting the win here. I obviously have, no problems with this. I know you addressed some concerns, so curious to get your thoughts on that and this. I think one thing we can both agree on, though, is that I don't think Andrade and Rey will be taking those titles from the Wyatt Six. So for whatever that's worth, the contest itself, though, should be fun. We then get our main event segment, which features John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes cuts a promo, and then John Cena comes in afterwards. Cody very much showing some heelish tactics here, attacking John and then getting on top of him to sign the contract. I believe he got busted open as well. So, Cody definitely showing some cracks in the Golden Boy persona for sure. KP, what were your thoughts on the second half of SmackDown here? Stephanie Vicaire being booked strong, Andrade and Rey continuing their success and getting an opportunity for the tag titles, and then, of course, John Cena and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, a little bit down and up, and maybe down again in this particular second half of SmackDown. Let's start with Stephanie Vicaire and Alba Fire. This match could have really been something quite fun. I would have possibly really enjoyed it if they'd had a decent length match. But because of how quick it was, because of how short, it's really hard to sort of really get into a match like this. Stephanie Vicaire is one of the women that I think is just unbelievably good at the moment, and she's just killing it every single time she gets in the ring. But yeah, this match just wasn't it. Because it's so short, there's not really much I can say about it. And I got nothing against Steph. I really like her, and I think she's fantastic. But I got a little bit of a problem with SmackDown going down the 2 hours, and then they brought over a Raw superstar just because of why not? I don't really get it. It's just a little bit confusing to me. They had obviously the segment on Monday on Raw, which I get it. This is a follow-up from that. But why are we doing this? Why aren't the Raw superstars on Raw, and why aren't the SmackDown superstars on SmackDown? This could have had a segment involving someone else. Could have had someone different in it. So as to why they're doing this, I don't really get it. What's the payout? Stephanie's going to have a build towards a championship soon for Clash in Paris. So unless this is really leading somewhere with a big match towards SummerSlam, okay, yeah, I could be right about that, because it does look like that's where it could be heading. But I don't know. I felt like this could have waited till Monday. That's what I will say. The segment didn't add anything whatsoever. There was no benefit from having it right now. So yeah, that's just a little bit of a weird thing that's sort of hanging over my head, basically. Going into the segment afterwards with the tag teams of SmackDown, I have expressed different opinions recently regarding Andrade and Rey Fenix, and I still am a little doubtful of their inclusion suddenly in the tag team division. I'm a little bit skeptical about why. They've gone straight in and seemingly just gone straight up to a tag team championship opportunity against the Wyatts. Fair enough, it was a fantastic match. Like you said, it was the best match of the night. So much fun to watch, and it was, it was crazy for the most part. But yeah, just to beat three other, defined tag teams on SmackDown, and seemingly steamroll their way straight through to the top. You could argue Fraxium did that when they first came up from NXT, and that's completely fair to say that, because they did. But yeah, I questioned the history between Andrade and Rey Fenix not being anything like Fraxium, so that's my main argument there. But yeah, in my head right now, what I'm thinking is just they wanted some sort of tag team just to fill a gap for the Wyatts. I think that's all I can really think of at the moment, because I can't, like you said, they're not going to take the titles from the Wyatts, so I think there may be just a little bit of a filler, a little time gap, perhaps, and then we get something, maybe a little bit more concrete going on after that, potentially. So yeah, I'm quite interested to see what happens in that match and what happens afterwards going on with those two in that tag team. So quite interesting. But yeah, the match was a lot of fun. I really did enjoy watching it, to be fair. That main event, the last segment of the night, whatever we're calling it, the WWE contract signing for the WWE Championship. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good, to be honest. I quite enjoyed it. So Cena coming on out and basically being like, "Oh, I can't be at SummerSlam. I'm recording. I'm filming a movie. Netflix know about it. Everyone knows about it. Behind the scenes, and they've all told me that I gotta, I gotta not do any WWE for the time being because I've got to take a step back. I've worked really hard. I'm a fighting champion, and I've earned my rest. So I'm going to go and focus on this movie. I just thought it was just so comical. It was so funny. Because let's be honest, nobody actually buys what John Cena's saying. But Cody Rhodes, you could see him getting more visibly annoyed as time went on. Adam Pearce was just sort of like stood there, like, shaking his head, rolling his eyes, whatever. And just like putting his hands out, like, there's nothing I could do about this. Like, I don't know where he's coming from. I found the whole segment quite funny, leading up to that particular point. Cena obviously walking away. Cody comes back and brings him into the ring. They're fighting, they're brawling, and eventually, Cena goes for the title across the face thing, misses. Cody does the exact same thing, but to Cena, and then lays him out in the middle of the ring, forces him to sign the contract. That technically that's not legal, by the way. Just saying. But obviously in WWE, these things are, maybe they're allowed to slide. So yeah, it looks like we're going to be getting a street fight, as Cody said, after forcing John Cena to sign that contract. So yeah, I mean, hey, look, that's going to be a crazy match. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes street fight for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. That's huge. That's big. So yeah, really excited for that one for sure. It's got a big match vibe to it, which is great. Obviously, that's what you want with the WWE title. Going back across SmackDown as a whole here, just like summarizing the whole night. Honestly, I think this showed more effects of SmackDown cutting time and some pretty poor decisions, especially when it comes to Stephanie Vaquer and the Secret Service Alpha Fire. Yeah, I think that suffered the most here. I think you got Julia on the card. On the show, but not actually featuring. That was for me a big negative here because she hasn't been on TV once since winning the title in Saudi, and the only time she's been on WWE programming was at Evolution in a Battle Royal. So that's quite telling, and I'm a little bit shocked as to why that's happened. There's a strange dynamic at SmackDown at the moment. I don't think they really know what to do with the lack of time, comparatively speaking to when they had the 3 hours. So I think they need another half hour. I really, really do. I don't think they need to go back to 3 per se, but they have to have a little bit more to get in another full length segment. I think they're really struggling with that, and it's showing on the shows at the moment in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I personally think SmackDown has dropped massively in the past couple of weeks, and they need to fix things ASAP. Really, I'd probably give this episode a 5 out of 10. There were a couple of good things on it, and there were some comical moments, but at the end of the day, there was very little wrestling involved, and it's a wrestling show. So for me, that's something that is important to me, and I think it is for you as well, Nick. So I'll be interested to hear your rating for this one as well. But yeah, poor, to be honest. Not a fan of the show massively. A couple of good moments for sure, a bit of funny here and there, but nah, just not good enough, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know it is crazy to have expectations for some good wrestling on a wrestling TV show, but yeah, it certainly does seem to be moving in that direction. With Alba Fire's inclusion for that segment, for how short it was, for how little of insignificance it has in the grand picture. Yeah, you very well can argue why put that here. And Julia, yeah, she was eliminated by Zelina, so I really thought they were going to start that rivalry back up. Zelina looked really pissed, by the way. Looked like maybe she was going to bring out a heel character, and so really thought we'd get a payoff to that. But obviously we didn't, for whatever reason. Julia not included on SmackDown. And the rest of the matches were pretty short as well. The only full out wrestling match we got was this tag team titles. But or number one contendership for those tag team titles. But yeah, so definitely been trending downwards for sure. The last segment was good as well. Two guys who know how to go on the mic, so really no surprise there. And looking forward to that street fight at SummerSlam. Obviously, will be a big deal. But yeah, definitely need to rework some things and give them some time to adjust, of course. But yeah, SmackDown is definitely the weakest of the three weekly shows right now. And NXT does it on a weekly basis where they're able to get in what they need to in pretty much the same amount of time, sometimes even shorter. So I think SmackDown can do it. They just need to figure it out. But and overall rating, yeah, I will actually give this one a 5.5, just because I loved the tag team match that much in the ending segment. So at least it felt like we ended on a positive note. But overall, yeah, not great. But sorry to end on that negative note. But we try to give these shows recaps for what they are. We can't polish a turd all the time. So. Yeah, that's a SmackDown recap. This has been The Push with Nick and KP. If you like what we're putting out here, please let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, we will be back shortly with our usual weekly recap videos. And until next time, this has been The Push with Nick and KP. Take care.